I'm recording. All right, so we're going to pick up where we left off here. At this point, everybody should have installed all of the software. Okay. Now let's go into this section up here. Let's talk about some of the things. Go ahead, Eric, go. Can you turn your mic on? Yeah, I know. Look,
Yeah.
why do you think this is, guys, this is partly self-paced for a reason, right? I can't possibly, I can cover it, and we can even take a break from this and then all join back in, you know, after the class is over and review and catch up and test prep and everything else. But this is a lot. This is going to be me leading a pack and you guys trying to follow, swim the shore is what it's going to feel like. Go ahead, Eric.
Quick question on the how do we get the recordings? I tried to come back and see what my homework was and try to remember it from memory, and you know, I'm a little older. I can't remember everything now.
That's why you have to do it. If you do it, you'll remember it. If you try to memorize it, you're going to fight it.
So where do I pick up the recordings?
Well, the last one, the recordings take time. I can work about a module or two ahead, but I have to download them, sometimes edit them, upload them somewhere else, and then it gets to you guys. So just like you guys now understand what it takes to download software, triple it for video editing. Video editing is the most time-consuming thing you'll ever do. It's like you're always doing it. You just do it, walk away, do it, walk away, and hopefully you just walk by it enough and it's actually finished. It's just always happening to try to make the stuff available. So what I've done is I've downloaded the one. I just need to actually put it somewhere so you can have it. So give me till like next Tuesday the next week I should have it. Normally I finish on weekends if you really want to know.
That's fine. What about the actual Word document that we're working off? The
what? I'm sorry?
The Word document.
Those are going to be in the Dropbox. Did you not get the Dropbox link?
I went there. I couldn't find. What are they on?
Well, here I can show you.
Okay.
I think I thought again. What was the password? What? All right, hang on. This is dumb. See, this is the stuff you edit out. What? L-D-R-E-G-I-E-R. Shoot. What is? Yeah, it's got to be. Apparently, I don't know the password, or I reset it. I have to look at it because they're gonna invalid email or password. I mean, I just don't use this other account. See, told you. You know what? Not that time. So that is. No. I locked my account out. I'll have to show you at the end of the call. Is that okay, Eric?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm gonna because I'm gonna step out for a few minutes. I gotta go pick up the kids, so I just want to know where to get the documents.
For So we certainly, I can follow up with you on that. You'll get it. I'll make sure you get it. Okay?
All right, cool.
Okay. All right, so what I want to do is I want to cover some utilities. Okay, basically once you get into the operating system, I'm going to have to give myself some real estate here. All right. All right, so the first thing, while this is logging in, let's talk about it. There's some graphical utilities that we can use, parted and G-parted, except G-parted is really a GNOME-based tool, so you'll be able to use that in the Debian or the Kali image. You can certainly use it there too. All right. So let's talk about fdisk. Yay. All right. So we just type in fdisk, and what does it say? The absolute path to fdisk is in user sbin fdisk. So running it may require super user privileges. So that's an easy one to solve, right? If you just go ahead and run the tool. So we need to elevate our privileges. Just like an attacker on a system would elevate privileges, we just do the same thing. We're administrators, so we can do whatever we want anyway. So sudo fdisk. And spell it correctly. Oh, pass. All right. Oh. Okay. Notice on the SU system, okay, command not found. You're not going to easily be able to run that. Next, make swap. Let's go through it. Command not found. Next, swap on. Swap on not found. See the pattern? Okay. You're going to need to actually do these on the Kali image, not over here. Not everything is completely transferable. There are some commands, okay, that are universal, like ls or cat. Well, you got to do something. So touch. Here, we can have some Unix fun here. Touch dog. What I just did is I created a file called dog by touching the dog, and then I'm going to cat the dog. All right. There's nothing in the dog, so no output comes out. Right. So we need to put some data in it. Right. So let's do an if config. All right. Or sudo if config. Sudo if. We have to tell it the path. Okay, so let's review that real quick because it's sometimes you have to understand why I do the things that I do, right? So we went through the commands. Okay, we talked about universal versus not universal. What we did is we did the cat command. You guys know what the cat command is? All right, that's going to get us information. All right, that's just showing a difference in the command. Then touch the dog. Touch is creating a file called dog. Then if I listed the directory that I'm working out of, you can see that the dog is in the directory, just an arbitrary file called dog. Then what I want to do is cat the dog, but nothing came out because the file is empty. If config, it actually tells you the actual path you have to do it in. So all I have to do is tell it. The terminals will give you feedback if you know what to look for. They speak to you in a way, right? So in this case it says, hey, I'm over here. So we elevate our privileges. Actually, this line right here, we elevate our privileges, and then we call it upon the exact location, and then we get the output that we're looking for. Okay, that is in Unix terms, that is called, a standard in and a standard out. I gave it the input, it gave me some output. Okay, very basic commands, but what you're doing at the highest level and the biggest level when you execute commands like that, it's all going through. At the end of the day, there's only 3 possible options: standard in, standard out, and standard error. Right? If you give it something, it's going to, and you give it to them in the language that it wants, it'll give you the output and answer your question. If you're incorrect, it will tell you. All right. So when you work with anything Linux, just you're either being asked the question or you're telling it what to do. Think of it like that. So these error messages, these little things like here, these system messages, they're good. That's information that we use to navigate in the biggest thing, right? So keep that in mind. Next, I want to use a tool like DD, all right? And we do it, and just let it run for a second, and then hit Control C, okay? And then read the output, right? So, who knows what DD does? This is something that you need to think about, okay? Let's pretend we don't know what it is, right? So that's like maybe a new command that we need to introduce into our repertoire of commands, right? So we're going to see the manual for DD command and see what we get. All right. I'm going to quit out of that, and then I'm going to go back in this and look at it again. All I did was type the manual. Give me the manual for whatever you want. If it has a manual, later I'll show you where the manuals are, but for right now, I just want some information. So the manual in DD, you can get, on any command, you can get information this way and then scroll through the file as much as you want, read as much as you want about it. You're going to spend time here. This is your best friend for further information. To get out of here, Control Q, all right? Also, you can do DD tech and ask it for help, and that's either going to come, if you just do a TAC H, it'll tell you generally the option that you need, right? So in this case, it says, please do it this way. This is feedback that we use here. DD is a very advanced command, all right? So I wouldn't expect anybody really starting out here in Unit 1 to really go over this. This is stuff covered here all through kind of learning the operating system that is way beyond anybody else at this level, okay? So look at all that. Way too much information. What the heck just happened to my screen? So let's clear it, and then let's go up, and then let's say do a pipe more. All right, this is additional feedback that you can give a command, except we don't want to clear it. What we want is a DD tac space tac help space pipe more. All right, and that'll give us 1 page at a time. That's the easiest way to do that. All right, if I do it again, I want to show you guys another way. Oh shoot. Oh, more DD. All right. You can do this for directories only. All right. In this case, it's telling you you can't do it this way. But if we if we put information in a minute, we're going to put information in the other file, and then we can get additional information about things. That's more of a file level command, but realistically here we want all is just a command from help pipe more. All right, go through this 1 page at a time. This is the first part of it. This basically tells you the basics of it. All right, copy a file, convert and format according to whatever you want. So you're going to spend a lot of time learning this, using this. Now, disclaimer, 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 disclaimer. This command does exactly what you tell it to do, and it does not argue with your operating system. It just does it, and if you tell it the wrong thing, you can shoot yourself right in the foot very easy with this tool, especially when you're like formatting drives or making an image of a drive, right? So typos here go, it's 10 times more important to watch your typos here, because if you screw something up, you've may have formatted a disk that you didn't want formatted, and all of a sudden the only data that you thought you had just went bye-bye, and you scratch your head and you're like, oh, wow, I guess I shouldn't have made that mistake. It's that type of command. So just that's the disclaimer when you're doing this. Right now, I don't even want you guys executed. I just want you to know that we're just going through a handful of disk partitioning utilities, and there's things that we can do and there's things that we can't do. You can see what software is built in the systems at this point. So what I would recommend is everybody go to the partition utilities on each operating system, and what I would like you guys to do is, go to this image, does parted work? Go to Kali, does parted work? Go to SUSE, does parted work? Go to Fedora, does parted work? Okay, you can do it like that, or you can just go to each operating system and go parted, gparted, fdisk, make swap, swap on, make file system, fdisk, make swap, go through it all the way through it, okay? These are more executable style utility. Actually, I'm going to put that in the document. These are really executable oriented. Okay, where down here, this is simply a file system component. Okay. Well, it's no S. All right. So see what works, see what doesn't work. When you're in here, you can, don't forget, you can hit enter and it gives you one line at a time, or if you hit space, it just gives you one page at a time until it executes the whole thing. Right? Now, what I want to do is I want to take that output. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to append this to the dog. Okay. You guys that have already been through this class, you guys already know where I'm building up on these commands here. Basically, what I did is I just extended, I use this as my standard in, and I'm appending, that's a symbol for appends to the end of, the output would be to a file called dog. All right. If I want to look at that, I can do a print a working directory here. Okay. See that I'm in Leo, do an ls, see the dog is there. Okay, I can also ls and display the files a little bit differently. This is an ls tac L capital F. This is kind of like a details view of in Windows. You can set your view to details, right, as opposed to like big pictures. All right, so you can see it that way too. And here you can see the critical information and sizes about that, right? So now if I cat the dog, finally, now you can see the contents of the things that I just put in the dog. So these conversations are designed to have be fun. I want you guys to take away, start thinking about standard in, standard out, standard error, right? And then go through each of these utilities on the file system. Next, let's start talking about file locations at this point. Okay, so to see what directory in, we just did a print working directory. So I'm in Leo right now. If I want to change directory, I can change directories to wherever I want, like root. Okay, and it says, hey, guess what? Feedback. Permission denied. So let's do it again. Sudo change directory to /root. Okay, ask for the password. Give it the password. All right. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to use the switch user command instead. So I just stay logged in as my administrative account. Okay. So my password is just password here. Switch user to root, and you notice the color change. Not all operating systems give you a nice pretty color change. You have to tell it to do that. Here it just comes automatically and you get a nice little pretty red. All right, so cd to root. Okay, and notice what happens to my directory structure. Here I have the name of the operating system, my home directory, and a pound sign. Later I'm going to show you guys how to change all of that. All right, but this is the input that you put, and this is just little reminders that you can set. All right, so basically the root is the file system. If I do a list here, you can see what files, right? So this is where you start being exploratory. If you want to remember what's in root, right? How do you study for this exam? you're going to need, I'll tell you right now, for the rest of this course, you're going to need to know what's in these file systems. Windows is a little less forgiving, and you kind of just go to My Documents for everything, but on a Unix system, it's very specific to where do you put things. I'll show you how to make shortcuts with that later, but you know, this is a directory structure here. I would walk through this directory and learn everything I can about it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that, right? So this is just, again, the basics here. So let's change directory. Whoop, let's not do it in that document. Let's change directory to the var operator. Whoops, spell it correctly. All right. And then list. Here you can see things like logs, mail, games, all right, a little bit about graphical stuff, right? So then let's look at the commonalities, right? So some of these are going to be more common on operating systems. So the first one is lib. Here's your library directories where we keep all our libraries. In this case, there's also a lock. That's the second one. This is for programs that run by the kernel or the operating system. It's really important to think about architecture here because you're just a visitor in this whole experience. This operating system does everything by itself. It just gives you the opportunity to interact with this. So you can tell it programs to run in certain modes. If you tell programs to run like all the time, like a web server, like a file server, just stay running, okay? It'll run it in the system mode of things. So when the application executes, it locks onto it. It prevents you, the user, from using it. You will see files like that. So once later we'll run some applications, and you can literally just walk the directory and see that. So next, let's change directory to var log. All right, do a list in there and see what kind of logs you have. This is a ton of information at this point on, you know, what to do. Okay, great. All right, quick questions here. So that was Mark. Are there reasons for different colors in the directories? You'll see that different operating systems kind of handle color coding differently. You can actually add environmental variables to your shell and say, you know, oh, my search response. You can do like a directory var log color, right? You'll see that things are different. So in here, actually, these are going to be the same. Yeah, Kerberos. But it didn't, surprisingly enough, it did display the output differently. But realistically, it didn't give me the colors that I want because it's the same thing as before. Unless on this system, when the change directory command runs, that's part of the actual alias of the command. But we'll cover aliases later. But the quick answer is yes, it can change, and you can tell it to change. All right. So you can see basically all the different types. You guys should really spend some time and start looking around in here. Okay. You know, configuration of the log files, your firewall log files, Kerberos settings, all of your mail. If I was an attacker and I wanted to find things on your computer, this is a great place to start because it's all of the logging and all of the feedback. Forensically, it provides a trail. It tells a story when you view all of this from start to finish. So the investigative process is basically start from finish. Once you finish, then go back on and read the whole thing like a story, and then it's much easier to think about the whole thing, but it's a big evidence collection process. All right. So, you know, news, network timing protocol will be in there later. Snapper logs, warnings, Xorg, you're going to see that, you know, the software installer, lots, right? Change directory to var run, that's the next one, okay? And then look what's in here. Here's cron, reports for reboots. Cups, which is an application installer. Okay, I got more locks, log files. What's if there's anything mounted? Okay, open VPN client, remote syslog, and the process ID for it. The firewall, SUSE firewall, user, and VPN client. Okay. that's stuff we're probably going to see later. Clue. All right. CD to var spool. Here, audit log, cron for starting things, mail, a remote syslog, postfix. Okay, just a handful of things. Okay, look in your temporary directory. You're going to want to, if you want to learn this one, this is something you're going to have to constantly do. You should do list var tmp quite frequently. Get used to doing this this one as a habit, because if you install anything on Linux that you don't like the way where it puts things, you can always look in the temporary directory. Plus, if you need more space, you can remove crap out of there too. All right. But let's be done and go back to CD home. All right. You can see that I'm basically at my desktop at this point. Okay. Also have some notes here on swap space. Okay. Swap space 64 megabyte can be created using the following utilities. This is more for studying or test prep purposes. And I was going to talk about mount points and partitions, but I can't figure out anything to say about it that's really that I want as information that I was like debating. What should I keep it in the course and out of the course? And I think I'm going to scrap it. I don't think it's relevant in this particular module. All right, so that's why I say, look, when I give you little notes like that, swap space 64 meg can be created by using the following utilities, and then I give you notes like this. If this is your final review, you should already know this by here, okay? So there may be two complete groups here. Right? Again, we have the benefit here of working with PhDs, and they're more than welcome to jump in at any time. All right. Other directories that you want to try differently per operating system. Okay, now that's pretty much going to conclude, hey, here's an introduction to one specific operating system. I would try to duplicate and walk through this particular study guide. If you're doing this on the study pace document and you're seeing this for the first time, this is what's going on. This is the way it's going to be. All right, I'm going to walk you through the hands-on, and I will show you everything that's in this document and demonstrate it. You send me feedback if you like. Okay, I encourage it. The more we have a conversation, put it this way, the more we have a conversation about things, the more we communicate, the closer I can get you guys to passing. But you got to put in your time here too, and monkey see, monkey do a little bit. All right. So that's going to conclude Module 1. You guys want to take a little bit of an early break now? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's absolutely. We're going to cover all that. I'll show you lots of little splicing utilities. Yeah, let's take a quick 10-minute break now. It's just because we're in between modules, So take a 10-minute break, and I'll see you guys in 10. I totally forgot to start recording again. Just thought of it. All right, so who? Yeah. FC Tech L a cat. Okay, so try that one. Searching your history, and I want you to list everything that has the word cat in it. So if you just want to look, basically any of the results specifically to that, there you go. It's a pattern search. Control R, reverse search in the history. Bang bang, most recent executed command. That's a fun one. Okay, it just does basically the same thing. Or if you want to actually do a particular history, like let's say I want to do the date again, and that's line 116. I can do an execute tac 116, and what that's saying is execute the last command, but out of the history I want line 116. So it's just a real easy way to do that. And that was a stupid one to choose. So let's do, oh yeah, that was the date. Say it's not a type. That you use command. Syntax check. Oh. Yeah, stupid. Exclamation, wrong syntax. Exclamation and then the line number that you want. So let's say let's say I don't feel like writing out the man, tail, all that stuff up there. Don't want to do that. You could basically just choose the line number. So it just happens to be 110. So how do you copy? Wait, just these or the whole, all of them? I mean, you got to be very specific, Tommy. How do you copy those commands to Notepad and execute them in another system, like the equivalent? Like you just want to take your history and do something with them? No, you got to be specific, Tommy. Okay. Oh, so history and then just the short. Well, the short one's the easy one, right? So that just happens to be, I want to see just the list that has to do with we could change that to date. That just brings up the commands, specifically with to that. But okay, so you want to put it in file, okay? So let's start with that. So let's take FC TAC L cat, and then let's append that, and let's put that. Let's use our standard output as our storage place. So we'll put that to transfer to computer.txt, okay? And then ls tac lf, right? Let's list, and you can see a file that says transfer to computer. So let's just see if something got actually stored in that. Less trans, and then auto tab all the way through that. And then, okay, that tells you, okay, that's enough. But don't forget that we could have, instead of doing less, we could have just did tail, just show it to me right here. Tail, just give me, okay, yeah, I got some stuff in the file, just wanted to check. And then from there, you can copy transfer to that, and then redirect that to let's say you just want to print that. Send it to dev lp0, right? So just tell it where you want it to go. Redirect it. Or don't forget you got the GUI too. I mean, I don't think that's the answer that you were looking for, but computer, grab your home directory. Right, Tommy? You guys, you with me? Is everybody with me? Here, just right-click, copy it wherever you want to put it. Right, Tommy? I mean, we could talk offline about that, Tommy. There's lots of ways to propagate stuff. You could use netcat if you have a lister on the end machine. You could do it that way. That would be a nice way. You can encrypt that session too. So there's a couple different ways. You're going to have to be patient for the answer, but there's definitely a couple of different ways. So over here again, that's where you just copy it and copy to your USB drive, send it wherever you want. Okay. All right. So that was some of the odd pan. Now, at this point, you can see how I can read this document and then go through and then reproduce the hands-on. This is exactly, I mean, as you're listening to this webinar, this is exactly what I want you to do. And I actually want you to do this in reverse. I just want you to take the documents, try the stuff on your own, and then try not to listen to the video. And you get to the point where like, what the heck was happening? Then go to the video, consult that portion of it, and just review the piece that you're missing. But you should just be able to sit there and do all of this hands-on yourself. Okay? And I've got all my notes in here. You can turn your history on, you can turn your history off, you can clear your history. So what this ends up being is a nice little quick cheat sheet of everything that you're going to do. And in terms of your hands-on, but it's also designed to be a study tool as well. So man pages versus help pages, right? So manuals are kept in user share man. Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Let's go check that out. Let's get rid of this stuff. Okay. So what was I doing? All right, so CD use. I want everybody to go there. User share manual. Welcome to the world of typos. And then basically, I want you to change that directory and then list the directory, and then list it with. It'll be easier with attack LF, and then a more actually. So if you do that, that'll give you one page at a time, and then you can go through. So you can see the first thing that might be a little bit obvious is basically the multiple languages that are in this file. So in this case, when I execute this type of command, I'm just being exploratory. I just want to see if it's there. You know, later when you're a little bit more advanced, you might try to do a help file, and you go, you know what? Let me just go get the help files, or you'll get some help from some files from somewhere else. You can just throw them in this directory or any directory like if you use your share the manuals. This is one of those directories that is relatively universal, so you can more or less do that on any Unix system. Okay. Other things you can try: man1 cron tab. Okay. The manual actually has different sections to it. And those are labeled by this right here. This really isn't like an input to a command. So basically the one is the user command section, and then configuration lines and file formats. So I want you guys to kind of compare these. So control, oops. Hold on, control Y. Come back. What was I doing? There you go. Manual 5 cron tab. Okay, see if it's any different, and then man 10 cron tab. And if you compare, in this case, okay, we got some output. No manual entry for 10. Get back. Find all matching manual, set manual, POSIX L corrects to avoid this, cron tab 1 and 5. And then it actually auto defaults you to the output. It goes back. Other things I want to show you here, please note in here, okay, cron tab 5, if you forget which one you executed, you can get that. There's a couple of these, so you can do manual. If it has a section, of course, it'll give it to you, but there are different identified sections in the manual. If you know it, I mean, one quick way to learn this is to just sit there and, go. You see how it says in section 8, in section 3, in section 2. The person that wrote the help file can define kind of like an index, and you can just call upon that index to that file, but it has to be set. So if you ever wonder, like, hey, I did that and it didn't work, well, it's actually got to be set on the help file. All right. There's a couple really good ones here that you guys really need to pay attention to. Your commands for helping will always be man and whatever the tool name is, or you can do your tac help, or which is the equivalent of the tac HA or / in the Windows land. You can also use what is to locate manual pages. Okay, so now what we're doing is you're getting familiar with our environment. So go ahead and try it. What is a cat? Cat is 1, only at level 1. Concatenates files and prints the standard output. I want you guys to do this a lot in the beginning. If you're advanced, you're probably already doing this a lot anyway, because it's real. One thing that you'll do is you just want to see the quick, one-liner of what this is. So do this until you actually know each command. So what is TAC, okay? Concatenate and prints files in reverse. What is help? Nothing appropriate. There's no nothing appropriate there. What is woman? Okay, there's nothing appropriate there, folks. Okay, what is switch user? Run a command with the substitute user and group ID. What is ifconfig? Configure networking interfaces. What is ls USB? List the USB devices. So ls USB. You want to see the USB devices that my computer knows? There you go. Okay, list the modules. Okay, I'm just rattling stuff off here. You guys get the idea. Just do a bunch of them. When you see the syntax in the document like this, and I've got example, that means, you know, you can play around with that and see the differences between something like that. Next, let's do man path for cat. Man path is set ignoring section man path. Okay, so this is so this is good. We can learn from this. So I typed man path. Well, let's see how my notes differ. Man path shows the search path for the manual pages, right? So what I did is a manual path for the cat command and said no too many arguments. You're chaining commands together. You can use a help or usage and see it. It says warning. The man path variable is set. So echo $ man path, okay, and it gives us the output that I actually wanted the first time. ls local manual and user share man. Get used to this, because if you ever wanted to go to any computer system that's Linux ever, I don't care what it is, do an echo manual path and it will tell you where the help files are. This is the equivalent of help me help yourself, okay? It tells you where everything is. So that's like, don't forget that command, echo manual path. Where are my manuals? Where's my help? Help me through this, okay? Which is different than how-tos. So let's do a change directory to user share document how-to, okay? Find how-to. And what is my notes? CD user share. Whoops. Actually. CD document. And then so it is slightly different now. So on this particular operating system, I have KDE manual packages and release notes as that. Good note. I've seen this convention used multiple before, and that's probably very, very relevant to your study materials. But as operating systems progress faster than people do revisions to exams, you should know the differences. So in this case, I originally went, okay, let's go to the traditional location, the user share document and how-to document. But if I just see what's in that directory, right, and just being inquisitive about it, I can see a KDE directory, so I can see what's in there, KDE, okay, and then HTML, change it to HTML. Okay, and then here are all the HTML pages, CD to AR, and LS in there, CD, you know, if you want to read Argentinian, my wife would be proud. Change the directories to English, see what's in there. Oh, so there wasn't too much in Argentina, but there was in English. Okay, wow, look at all that stuff. Hey, that's probably a whole bunch of helpful stuff. Let's think about this for just 1 second, okay? Common, Dolphins, Fundamentals. If you start reading through these, obviously these are different documents for the KDE that is actually written in English. If your Spanish is your native, you knock yourself out on that too. And then notice the convention here shows real nicely all of the K this, K that, K contact, K mail, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is very, very evident in this one. Okay. If I do a CD to a network, oops. All right. And then you can see what's in them as well. And then there's the index docbook, common files, and then a zip version of it. So it's zipped and unzipped. In this case, it's unzipped. It's got it compressed, and then the index of that. So I could cat index docbook, okay, and I can see it. And there you go. So there's your again, it's HTML. So you get the idea here. It's HTML stuff. So that back up for a second. Okay, so that's basically what how you figure out what's what I'm trying to do here is show you what's in these different directories. So change directory to manual, ls, and this got OpenSUSE Startup English. So I could do a VI OpenSUSE Startup English. All right, it's actually a legal file name. All right, so I was stupid. I was thinking file, but it's blue. It's file. It's a folder. So here you go. You can see the different HTML files. So if I want to see what's in the index.html, then I can VI index HTML, and there you go. Or Control Q and index it. All right, so more or less as you can explore those directories if you want. All right, just navigate, get an idea of what's in what directory. If you're new to this, you're really just getting an idea. I really just want you to practice your way through this. If you're second time through this course and you're feeling a little bit more advanced, well, this is where you should already be a little bit more inquisitive, and it's not completely foreign. At this point, okay, I'm staring at some files. Okay, let's play around and see what's in the files, and you can use the document to go through as quickly as possible. Okay, so there's info pages as well. Okay, so actually let's go to home, and I'll go back to my directory. So I just changed directories back to home. So you can do an info cat syntax info. Okay. Let's do let's start here. Let's start with info. At your command line, just type in info. Notice if you were seeing it earlier in the video, you may have recognized this section. In this case, this is something we saw in the graphical environment that that now we're seeing in the text environment. Okay, and so if you kind of read this, it's kind of like a little bit like a book here. Compression, gzip utilities. If you want to see what the different categories of stuff is, you can kind of go through here. All you need to do is basically spacebar at a time. So the different editors that are installed, the different GNU packages, the different utilities, individual utilities. For those of you that are studying and doing test prep, do not forget this. You can use this to study, right? So individual utilities. What does the awk command do? What does the base64 command do? What does the cat command do? What is the cron? What is the change group? What is the change mod? Who's the change the owner? Who's the checksum? What was the DD command? You want to see what command is installed on the system? I mean, here it is. All right, so you can use this as one nice, clean run through of things for test prep. And even if you're not studying for the exam and you just walk up to some computer, I mean, come on and hello, folks. Info, just do an info real quick. It tells you exactly what that system is being used for. Okay, it's right there. Just basically space through the stuff. Read it like a book. Kernel, you want to know what level credit, you're using grub for booting. Multi-boot, using multi-boot. Here's all the grub specific stuff. Grub probe, we can look at that and look at that later. You know, again, there's not only one thing that I wanted to see in here. I just want you guys to basically tab your way through that document. But, you know, just type in info. Go to your computers. Right after you get each one of them installed, do an info. Read it. Compare them. I like doing that per system because it shows you exactly how that system is set up. So you're not like, if you feel like, you know, oh, I don't know how Unix works, do an info. Let's see. Okay? And let's see. We got just a little bit more to do here. Okay, so this time in the recording is going to serve as basically the quick run through so you can see it. But as you listen to it, you can play this kind of in the background as you listen to me talk through it. But we're going to start getting into stuff that we're really going to have to focus and pay attention to, which is basically command separators and how they work. Like I have config and then cat. That was dumb. Or where you're going to get into a whole bunch of this logic. Now, in my opinion, this is where your traditional Linux class freaks people out completely. If the instructor comes in like the first day and is like, oh, let's go ahead and learn meta-character expressions. It could freak a new person out to Linux right away. You have to take your time with this logic and slowly introduce this each version and each time that you go through it, because this stuff is not completely intuitive. Okay, like you have parentheses and you have brackets, and I've basically given you an example of exactly what to do. So, you know, let's go ahead and make ourselves a new directory. We'll call it make dir new directory, and then change directory to, actually I spelled it wrong, NEDIR, so I'll just work with what I have. Touch, bracket, Leo, Jim, Pierre, and bracket.txt. Hit enter, and watch it fail. Touch Leo is not a typo. Add a space there, and then do an ls, and you can see that that created 3 separate files, the names that I want. So instead of doing here, I could do touch leo1.txt, then do touch leo2.txt, and then touch leo3.txt ls. That created all of the 1, the 2, and the 3 right there. So I could have strung out the command like that as well. That just basically create file 1, file 2, file 3, or I can get creative with some of these logic and the expressions, like with our brackets. This is, again, the advanced folks, this is pure review at this point. You guys should absolutely know this, ready to take this exam. This is all stuff that you need to do. All right, so that's how to do that. So watch this. Let's do a delete. No, that's at least not command. So let's do remove star.txt, and see that all those files that I just created disappeared. Okay, and then I want to do a touch Amy, Sue, and Sally, and then end squiggly bracket, and then 1, 2, 3, and squiggly bracket.txt. Okay, and then see what that did. See, interpret the output. I want you to reverse by what your output is. I want you to tell me exactly the logic of that command. So notice it's Amy 1, Amy 2, Amy 3, then Sue 1, then Sue 2, Sue 3, then actually Sally, because it's displaying in alphabetical order. Sally, this isn't the output which it executed. This is just the output of the directory contents. So, but either way, it's 3 of each one. Okay. Let's let's. Here's a real world example of this. Let's say you're working on your finances, right? And you actually want to do it. I actually have this nice really long out one. I'm going to do this one, and then we're basically going to call it a night. So we're getting close to wrapping up here. So I'm going to do a make directory tac p. Let's make money / 200 and then bracket. I think that's an extra extra 0. 20, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and bracket, and then quarter / Q, capital Q, and then another set of squigglies, 1, 2, 3, 4, and squiggly dot and squiggly. I call them squigglies. I know it's in bracket. .txt. So if you type that completely and see the logic of the make directory, let's make money, and I'll let you guys figure out what the P means. You guys got to do a help on that real quick, and then see what that P means, and you understand why I did it. Let's make money, and then hit enter there. Now if I do ls, you can see the folder in blue. So cd, change the directory to it, and then ls, then I have all those subfolders corrected. I created cd to 2010, and then ls, and then quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've completely organized the whole directory structure one chess move. Okay, when you're in the advanced level, you need to start thinking like that. Here at the advanced level, you're like, okay, that's right. How can I use that? Where if you're in the new beginner level, the difference is okay, wait a second, what exactly was that again? And you have to go through it step by step. So why did I do a tac p? That's a file. Actually, it's let's make money 7. Actually, I probably didn't even need the 7 there. It's just this. You should figure this out. That's just arbitrary text. And then create / create subdirectories under that, and let's use 2010. And there's actually a typo in the document, so I'm going to save that. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and then give me subfolders underneath of that, and then give me quarter, and then 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. And what if what do you think the difference is between 2015? Oops. Okay, so it created it per subfolder because that's what I told it to do. So the logic there is very, very, very specific. Okay. All right, and then you have ampersigns in brackets. This is logic here. So you've got these for and then you got or. So it's like you practice a few of these. CD, bin, pipe, ls. Okay, so what it did is it changed the bin, and then actually it stopped because it's if it ls, then it would have displayed the output here. All right, so clear cd / bin ampersand, and then ls. There you go. See the difference? So do one or the other, or do them both. Or here, watch this. Let's do something a little more strategic to prove a point. Change directory to bin, or no, we got to do change directory to home, or change directory to root, and it went to root. If I do a print working directory, it went to root. If I change directory again, cd to bin, and then do the command again, let's see if it takes me to the same one, and it does. So it's taking me to the second one twice. It's really do it or one or the other. It's supposed to figure it out randomly, but for whatever reason, I got 2 in a row. All right, so that really concludes all of the running through this document, okay? I want you to take a highlighter through the document, and I want you to go through it, and anything that you already know, I want you to highlight. If you don't know it, don't highlight it. You're going to come back to these documents over and over and over again until everything in this document is highlighted. Once everything documented is highlighted, you are free at that point to go to Odesk and ELANS and start looking around and getting a little bit more specific to what's going on out there. So don't forget, for those of you that are into the contest, let's kick that off. You got to, whoever's got the biggest tab at the end of the course is the winner here. So where can I? You need the Dropbox link, or this particular document, or well, either way. Okay, I told you I would say that. I'm not logged in this computer here. I'll just tell you. Or can I just email it to you, Eric? Is that an easy answer? All right. As soon as I hit end and recording and all that other stuff, I'll turn around and I'll send it out, so you'll get it as soon as we're done. Okay. So let's talk. All right. What do you guys think so far? Are you able to follow the documents? Do you see how I follow the documents and kind of walk through it? And I use it, and I'm learning as I'm going. I go through and I go, what is this? At this point, the learning curve should be just, if you're newbie, you never touched this stuff before, it should be just ahead. So it's like I'm one step ahead in front of you, and I'm leaning one step, and I'm trying to drag the horse to the water at this piece. So I'm kind of going a nice flow through it. So at every just to walk through the exercise. But as I walk through the exercise, I'm showing how I'm basically picking and pulling random commands together. Instead of taking one command and telling you everything about it, here's another command, everything about it. Here's another command, everything about it. I kind of take the approach of I want to show you how I use it and how things start to piece together. So it's kind of like demonstrating Windows, except I'm demonstrating Linux. But I treat it basically just like Windows. Okay, you should have a very purposeful application flow to it, and I explain myself as I'm going. I want you guys to follow that. I mean, there's definitely some advanced folks in the class, and please keep remember, I'm just warming up here, but because I can only go as fast as the strongest link, as they say. So we go through this, and you guys get to go through this too. What's after this? I want you to be able to go run through this and try to create all of these files and folders and go through it just like I did and try to get it down to about 10 or 15 minutes. When you can do it in 10 or 15 minutes, each of these documents in 10 or 15 minutes, you're probably ready to take the exam. If you cannot do it within 15 minutes, you're not taking the exam yet. All right? I've got some other notes in the end of section 2 here. Okay? Basically, step-by-steps, go to each desktop, perform all commands above. Actually, let me just read this out loud for the record. Then switch to a desktop other than that. Let's say XFCE, and then go through all the commands again. Are they the same? Are they different? And then try them with KDE, the same. Or try them with GDE, are they the same? Go to the different terminals and see how things differ. You have to compare and contrast. That's the way to learn this on your own. That's the self-paced approach. After following those directions, you'll know 3 interfaces inside and out, and you'll have learned several commands. This builds proficiently better. I mean, this is the best way to do this. You actually have to do it. You have to now monkey see and monkey do. You'd be inclined to say, yeah, I could do that, but reality is, did you? Okay? When I speak to people and I answer their questions, I answer them from the fact that I did it, I've done it, I can show it, I can demonstrate it. Right? If I was to hire you to come in my office and look at me for a Linux job, I would turn a computer around and I would say, tell me everything that you know. And then I would basically wait to see until you stopped. And then that would tell me. And if you sat there for 3 hours, then, we would get into advanced stuff really, really quick. If you couldn't sit there for more than 15 minutes and explain the interface, then I would say, why are you Linux Plus certified? Okay? So you want to have the working proficiency of this as, you have to be willing to convince me to take money out of my pocket and put it in yours. That's how you get a job, okay? So do it on, do it on XFCE, do it on KDE, okay? If you want an advanced project to do, figure out how to convert one interface over to another, okay? You'd have to research that on the internet. You have to be willing to kind of goof up a few times and start completely over, but that would definitely be an advanced lab. See if you can do it. Like, what if I'm on my operating system right now, instead of running KDE, I want to switch over to to GNOME. At the end of this course, I expect everybody to actually be able to know how to do that. Okay, I want you to be that comfortable with the commands and the interfaces. I don't have all the commands, memorized in my head, I'll be honest with you. And why should I? Because I can look the stuff up on the internet. But nonetheless, I've successfully completed it. I did it with this computer and when I dual boot. And so I'm actually, I can reboot and show you right now. All right. So summary and conclusion here. The objective here was to give you the experience with different flavors of Linux. If you are a slacker, you did not actually run through the commands in this document on multiple desktops. Proficiency is when you can pick up any operating system in Linux or Unix and make it do what you want it to do. For now, practice, young grasshopper. All right? So the checklist for 100% pass rate, work with the command line, and get proficient. Work with the different browsers. You can take quizzes. I did remember, I just remember when I just read it just now. I told you that I would give you guys access to the test questions in the last class, and clearly I didn't. So who's going to ask the question? Go ahead. I know somebody is now. Hey, since you brought that up.
I think you answered it.
Yeah, what kind of, is there anything that I should say at this point? I think that's self-explanatory. That's the little differences between working a full-time day and then jumping into like a night class. Yeah, you bounce around a lot, and it's those little tiny things. And you think you write everything down, and you think you got it, and you're like, oh, I'll do that in 2 seconds. Bam, not done. So I will get it. So you take the quizzes. As soon as I give you the quizzes, then you can take them. All right. Also reviewing the mind maps. At this point, we've gone over these documents, but I want to show you the mind maps. The reason why I wanted to go through the document today is so that you can basically see the value in that. But there's also a complete mind map of each one of this. So in the big scheme of things, here's the benefit to everyone involved here. That is literally, I hope I'm blowing the competition out of the water at this point. Here's where I earn my paycheck. We've taken a whole chapter in a book, all right? We've crunched that down to about 10 pages worth of notes. Then 10 pages worth of notes becomes one visual mind map of absolutely everything that you need to know for this whole module. And you should be able to have this one piece of paper in front of you and then go through each one and perform each one like like you're playing the guitar. I mean, it should be that fluent, okay? So now you can go in here. You want the highest level review and how everything relates, all of the keyboard shortcuts, okay, all the shell variables that you can try, how to do all the different meta characters. Sorry, I'm way too zoomed in here. I know you guys can't see it in that fashion, so I'll try to do it this way. The different desktop environments, GNOME, KDE, XFCE, the different tools, okay. Basically what this is, at the highest, level of the game here, with that mind map, that hierarchical, is all of this stuff here. It's all of the hands-on in red, okay? So we've taken all of that, and then we mapped it all out. So it's each module. Your exam study, the last thing that you do before you go study for the exam is you review 16 pieces of paper. You take 2 exams, and you get 3 certifications in the mail. Any questions? I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you. All right, well, now you guys can say something. Dropbox link, Tommy. Any questions? Last chance.
Hi, Leo. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. This is Marcus.
Marcus, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
All right. Well, you got a specific question, or you just want to chat for a little bit, Mark?
I was just saying hi.
Okay. How you doing, buddy?
Okay. Hey. Appreciate the class.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Practice away, folks. That's 1 and 2. I've got basically, in 3 hours, I've covered 2 nice whole domains. We're going to capitalize it and refine it and go back through and get you to the test prep stuff, but I want to show you how to actually do this stuff. So it's one thing to read the documents and study and prep. It's another thing to go in the system and actually do it. Make your own mistakes, document your mistakes, copy your history to a notepad document, and save that stuff. If you send me that stuff, I can help, okay? If there's no questions for tonight, I got a little bit of homework here that I need to do, and then I'll upload Dropbox, and we'll be done for the night. Any questions? Sorry about the late start, but thank you. Please email me with questions, folks. Okay. Thank you all for attending, and I'll see you guys later.